guys, welcome back to my channel. There's not much more annoying than when you start your ride and you're going to mechanical, and specifically if it is something that you could have prevented by doing a few checks before you start your ride. So today I want to take you to a few things that I check after I finish a ride and before I start my ride. Alright, let's get into it. So the first thing to check are the brake pads. You want to make sure you got enough material on the brake pads to last for the ride or longer. It's not something you have to check daily, but definitely weekly. Specifically when you ride in wet conditions, they wear off quicker. And also just squeeze the lever a few times, make sure it feels all natural and the brake pads are nicely stopping the rotor. Moving on are the tires. That's something I definitely would recommend to check every ride, regardless if you ride tubes or tubeless. The tires will lose pressure over time. I normally just give it a gentle squeeze, and that gives me enough feedback that the tires are of a good enough pressure. If you want to be very precise with your pressure, you also can use a floor pump with a pressure gauge that gives you a good indicator. Also have a quick look at the tread of the tire, if it's good enough for the conditions in which you're going to ride and the terrain you're going to ride. So the next thing, and in my opinion maybe even the most important thing to check, because it's something that we often forget, is to check that the bolts of all the pivot points are nicely firm and not loose. Be mindful of the torque to use for all of these bolts. They have this specifications stamped on them, so use your torque tool specifically for your carbon frames. But make sure you check the bolts after a ride. Have some experience with bolts coming undone. If you have particular bolts that come undone regularly, you want to use some Loctite, hold them in their place. The other thing to check is your rear shock, making sure it has enough air in it, and that's easily done by moving the red O-ring all the way up. Yeah. Loosen the suspension, so make sure it's not locked. Sit on the seat and with your full body weight, but not rocking the bike, and then see how much sag that you have. So you want to make sure you have about 1/4 to 1/3 that the O-ring comes down from the piston. Yeah, if it's a half or more, that is an indicator that you probably have not enough air in your rear shocks. But that's an easy fix, obviously, just by using your shock pump. Use the manufacturer's guidelines for how much pressure to use for your body weight. If that doesn't fix this one, there might be something else going on in the seals or something else. The front shocks is a bit similar. It's a bit harder to test, but you just cycle it a few times and it gives you an indication if it's firm enough or to push. Again, you could add some more pressure, more air in the front forks. Again, refer to the manufacturer's guidelines for your body weight, how much pressure it should have. The other thing to check is your crankset, making sure there's no play in the crankset. Easy done by holding each crank and just moving it laterally, and you should not feel any movement. Yeah, that indicates play. Alright, so what else to check? Check the grip as well. I had once or twice that the grip came undone and I didn't have the small Allen key with me to fix it. So again, super annoying and easy to check. Next is the chain. We'll have a quick look at the chain, making sure there's no rust on it, no sand, and it is lubricated. Also have a look at the rims. Again, it's not something that you do weekly, but if you have big dents of bulges, that obviously indicates that you will have soon an issue with your rim and needs either repair or replacement. The other thing is to check the tension of your spokes, yeah? And I can feel in this case a few actually needs some more tension, yeah? Making sure there's nothing obvious loose. Again, if the spokes are not at their right tension, it can cause issues doing riding, specifically if you have rocky trails, maybe doing drops or jumps. Good. Another thing to check is the shifting. You want to make sure that each click of the shifter results in the chain moving up or down a koch and over the full range of your cassette. So up and down shifting should go nice and smooth. So guys, that are the basic checks that I do after and before I ride. So in summary, check your brake pads, make sure they have enough material on them to last for the ride or longer. Check your brakes by squeezing the levers, making sure they feel good, not too soft. Check your tires. Again, making sure you got the pressure that you prefer. Check the rear shock and the front fork, that they have the right air pressure. Refer to the manufacturer's guidelines for your body weight. Check that the bolts are nice and tight. Use a torque wrench to adjust them to the manufacturer's guidelines as printed on the bolts. Check the chain, make sure it's nice and clean, not rusted, no sand on it, and lubricate it. Check the rims for any obvious damage, and check the spokes that they are not too loose and have the right tension. And there is the crankset, making sure that the cranks have no play in the bottom bracket. Check the shifting, make sure that every click of your shifter results in the chain moving a koch down or a koch up. Alright guys, that's it for today. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any comments, drop it in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, and otherwise I will see you out there on the trails. Ciao.